Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lounge. Hope you're having a good day. I'm just out on a little walk in the big field in my neighborhood. I'm getting rained on a little bit too. I think we have a sun shower going on. But I did want to talk today a little bit about real estate because normally when we do financial type episodes, we talk stocks. But I figured real estate was the topic of the week because I've just spent the last couple weeks really struggling to buy a house in my city. And I mean, really struggling. And that's not a good thing, especially because I'm shopping at well above the median price in my city and I don't even have a financing condition on any of my offers. And yet, in the past couple of weeks, I have made roughly, I think, 5 or 6 offers, all of which I have lost on. I've come in second place or third place. I just haven't been able to get a house. I can't even imagine trying to get a decent house right now while having a financing condition on any of your offers. And some of that has to do with the red hot housing market. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why it's so red hot, because there's a whole pile of reasons coming together, and they're all kind of happening all at the same time. And unfortunately, I don't think that most of these reasons are going to clear up anytime soon. The very first thing, of course, is the ultra low interest rates, which are ultra low to keep the economy propped up, and that sort of have to stay relatively low because governments have gotten themselves into so much debt that if interest rates were to rise significantly, they wouldn't be able to service their debts properly. So definitely interest rates are the number one thing always, and those interest rates are completely ridiculous right now. Like, the one good thing I can say about my house hunt is that I do have a great interest rate locked up for when I do get a house, and it's 2.04% on a 5-year fixed mortgage. I could have gotten about 1.6% if I went for a variable rate. That is absolutely nuts. That is really close to giving out free money. Like, it's not quite free money, but it's darn close, particularly when the real estate in my area is going up double digits per year right now. In terms of percentages. But if it were only the interest rates, that wouldn't even be such a big deal. There's just a whole bunch of other stuff going on. There's people flooding out of the big cities and into smaller cities and towns like mine because they're sick and tired of all the measures and restrictions and the way that COVID went. They didn't really enjoy living in big cities very much. They now want, a bigger yard and a quieter community and so on. Not to mention, after sitting around their own houses for over a year and watching all sorts of strange food shortages temporarily but alarmingly hit grocery stores, some people are very much into self-sufficiency nowadays, and that usually involves a lifestyle change and buying a new house. But then there's so many other factors. There's the fact that it's becoming harder and harder, and it makes less and less sense to be a landlord. So a lot of landlords are dumping all of their properties. Again, they just went through a period where they legally couldn't evict their tenants for any reason. And meanwhile, it's just a pain in the butt to be a landlord. If you want to earn 5 or 6% per year on an investment, on an asset, there's easier, less inconvenient ways to do so, and a lot of landlords, as a result, are dumping their properties. I've walked into an awful lot of houses that I noticed, hey, this is tenanted and has been tenanted for a very long time, and suddenly the landlord is getting rid of it. Then, of course, there's all the money that's escaping out of Hong Kong this year. A lot of it is ending up in places like Canada in the form of real estate. And lest we forget inflation, which is impacting the costs of all sorts of goods, particularly lumber. That makes houses more expensive. It makes building houses more expensive. And even in the case of existing houses, it means that creating a replacement house or doing renovations becomes more expensive, and that drives up the value of the property. Again, in effect, it's not that the property is really gaining value, it's because all of the dollars and the currencies are losing value. There is very significant inflation going on, and a lot of people don't even realize it. And certain inflation indexes don't even count the housing prices, depending on what country you're in sort of a way to try and make people not realize to the degree to which inflation is happening. But it is. So yeah, in short, we have a real perfect storm going on that's inflating real estate prices. In my area in particular, which is sort of a retirement community, it's a warmer area, a lot of older people. The baby boomers are all retiring, they're all coming down here. Inventory of housing is limited, so yeah, it's just a perfect storm in certain places. But that said, guys, I still greatly recommend buying a house versus renting. All of these videos I've seen over the course of my life where somebody tries to compare renting versus buying, any type of formula that recommends that renting is better than buying is very flawed. It usually tends to assume really, really stringent long-term saving capability for most people if in case they rent, in order for them to still come out ahead, and most people just aren't like that. Like if they're accumulating huge sums of money, often they won't save it that wisely. In any formula that adjusts for human nature to any degree, it quickly becomes clear that buying is better than renting. And I mean, look at right now, for all of the negative sounding stuff I've said, for anybody who currently owns a home in my city and owns it long term, the past few months have actually been fantastic. They've seen their home, their property, their asset rise in price month over month, and there's no end in sight. Whereas anybody in the same city who's been paying rent every month, they've seen their rent disappear to their landlord, and they haven't really earned any kind of percentage. And meanwhile, as the properties they rent keep getting more expensive, inevitably rents do rise as well, because landlords want to cover the costs of their mortgages and whatnot. And if the mortgages are getting bigger, well, so are the rents. So yeah, buy, don't rent. That's my brief little real estate chat for you guys. Hopefully in a few more days I'll have a house locked up. Once again, I have like 3 offers on the go, but I'm feeling pretty good about them. And we'll see where I end up. Catch you later.